Welcome to Supporting Students with Intellectual Disabilities in Post-Secondary Career and Technical Programs, Part 1. This introductory module is intended to familiarize College and Career Technical Education Center personnel, School District Exceptional Student Education personnel, and others with Project Achieve, a post-secondary support program for students with intellectual disabilities who are enrolled in post-secondary adult vocational programs at Florida State College at Jacksonville. After viewing this introductory module, interested persons may want to view Parts 2A and 2B, which provide more detail about implementing a support program. This presentation is based on strategies used by Project Achieve, which is located at Florida State College at Jacksonville. Project Achieve provides supports to students with intellectual disabilities to enable them to succeed in career and technical programs, earn a workforce credential, and become competitively employed. This presentation will introduce educators at colleges and career and technical education centers, secondary exceptional student education professionals, and other agencies to the steps in planning and implementing a similar program in their own communities. The presentation is a companion to a replication guide developed by the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council and posted on FDDC's website. That guide provides an overview, plus in-depth information about how to develop a similar program through partnerships among colleges or career and technical education centers, school districts, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, and others. The initiative to support the implementation of Project Achieve, to develop the replication guide, and to produce this online module is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council. Project Achieve enrolls and supports students with intellectual disabilities in post-secondary adult vocational, or PSAV programs, such as the ones on this list. To be successful in these programs, students must learn hands-on job skills and demonstrate knowledge of the vocabulary, tools, and processes used in the specific career field. These are intensive programs. Students must prove their mastery of skills and knowledge, not only to graduate, but often to pass an industry certification exam as well. Students may have to learn a great deal of content that is typically taught and assessed through written material, math problems, and other formats that may present difficulties for students with intellectual disabilities. Project Achieve staff work with the PSAV instructors to offer accommodations and specialized supports that help students master the skills and knowledge required by their chosen program. For a variety of reasons, few students with intellectual disabilities enroll in PSAV programs, and those that do may be confronted with many barriers to their success. However, Project Achieve has found that its students can succeed in PSAV programs if they have the opportunity to choose a program that fits their interests and abilities, and if they receive appropriate supports. Project Achieve provides a full menu of supports to students, and Project Achieve staff work very closely with PSAV instructors to understand what their students need to learn in order to be successful. They also help familiarize PSAV instructors with approaches they can use to support each student in their program. Supports include an employment readiness class, a technology-based ESE resource class, tutoring, accommodations, mentoring, job coaching, and ongoing consultation between PSAV instructors and Project Achieve's assessment instructors. This presentation describes how Project Achieve operates, including staffing, program structure, student selection, funding models, and more. However, there are many ways those elements could be put together to build a successful program. Other programs do not have to look like Project Achieve. However, to be successful, they must offer supports that address all aspects of their students' educational experience in a way that is responsive to the needs of the students and the demands of the PSAV programs they are enrolled in. The supports must be there for the students to succeed. Project Achieve students receive instruction and learning support in multiple settings. Just like their fellow students, they spend 4 to 6 hours each day in the PSAV program itself, learning the skills associated with their chosen career field. They also work directly with their assessment instructor, who provides tutoring and support to help them learn those technical skills. In addition, they attend an employment readiness class and an ESE strategies and technology class to work on employment skills and on any academic skills needed for their PSAV program. Some students also have a peer mentor or other personalized supports. Project Achieve's goal is to provide the supports each individual student needs to succeed. Each student has a support team that is made up of individuals who contribute to that student's success. For most students, the support team includes the student, the PSAV instructor, the assessment instructor, the employment readiness instructor, the ESC technology and support instructor, the student's VR counselor, and a job coach. Depending on the student, the team may also include the parent, an ESOL instructor, or others who can address barriers, help solve problems, or otherwise contribute to the student's success. Some individuals may be brought in on an ad hoc basis to address specific issues that arise and affect the student's success, such as academics, accommodations, finances, or transportation. This group meets as often as necessary to address the student's needs. They also collaborate to provide direct supports for the students. Collaboration is key to an effective support program, and it is key to student success. The PSAV instructor is at the heart of the program because she or he teaches the skills and knowledge students need to develop in order to succeed in their future career. The PSAV instructor also communicates with the assessment instructor about the student's progress, shares resources and information to help the assessment instructor provide effective tutoring to the student, helps develop strategies to support the student, helps identify peer tutors and mentors, and implements any accommodations for which the student is eligible. Just like any student enrolled in a PSAV program, Project Achieve students spend many hours each week in their career program's classroom, lab, simulation center, or other specialized site, whether that's the welding shop, the facial studio, or the warehouse. The assessment instructors work directly with PSAV instructors and students to help students succeed. Watch this video to hear from a PSAV instructor and an assessment instructor about how they work together to help students succeed.
One of the major skills we work with students is self-advocacy. We try to make sure that they're able to advocate what their needs are. We work on learning strategies in the classroom to help students to address some of the technical skills that they're going to have to work with in their PSAV programs.
Some of the important skills that a student would need to develop to be successful in our program, obviously they'll need to work on their mechanical and electrical aptitude. There's a lot of electronics on cars today, and as well as the mechanical stuff. Some other skills would be like their interpersonal skills. These automotive technicians will interact with the public from time to time, as well as fellow co-workers. So mechanical, electrical, interpersonal, and basically just kind of develop self-motivation skills.
I try to build a rapport with the instructors because we want to make sure that there's not any apprehension from the instructors with having some of our students in their classrooms. So what I will do is I will let them know that I'm here as a support to them.
I did have some concerns when they first approached me about having students from Project Achieve or Vertical in our programs. I was concerned with, I knew they had intellectual disabilities. I was wondering exactly what that meant. I was wondering, what would be the accommodations that they would come with. I was wondering how we were going to have to adjust how we teach the class, as well as, how the changes we made would affect other students in the class as well. One of the interesting things I learned, though, is just because someone has a disability doesn't always fall in line with what my perception with a disability would be. We had students all the time who had a so-called disability that I never would have known it if someone hadn't have told me that. And so just like regular or other people, disabilities come in all shapes, forms, and sizes. And what we tried to focus on was figuring out a way that this student could mitigate the effects of their disability on their career and their work and their learning, and find ways to play on their strengths. as well, and it worked pretty well.
That's why it's so vital that we have the vertical staff to be able to provide whatever assistance if we notice that our student might be lagging behind in a couple of areas and you don't have the individual time to take away from the class as a whole to actually work with the student. We're able to find out from you, what are you, what subjects, what chapters are you going through, so that when we provide supplemental outside instruction to the student, we can help that student feel confident where they'll be caught up.
I've worked with assessment instructors on several occasions to help students succeed. Usually it was an intervention, so to speak. We have a student who is slipping, maybe his attendance isn't so great. The assessment instructor and I and the student would all meet together. We try to see why the student's being late, if it's something that the student can work on, or is there some other outside factor? Is it transportation? Is it a living situation? Is there something we can help with?
I think the major fear is that instructors feel that, okay, I'm going to have to slow my lesson down, or I'm going to have to affect the integrity of the program itself. And then when they're able to see that a lot of our students, because they have such a desire to learn, and in so many of the programs, you have to have that desire. Once you have that desire, we can do so much with that because you want to learn, you want to put in the extra time.
I think part of our mission as a state college, which really still is a community college mission, is we're to serve the local community. And one of the best things I like about working at a college like this is I always tell students that if you know where you want to go, no matter what your past has been, we have a way to get you to where you want to be. And to me, that is serving the underserved within the community. And I believe students with disabilities are sometimes overlooked. They're categorized and put into a particular box, so to speak. And this kind of provides an opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise have. It gives them job skills and helps them, kind of grow and become more independent.
The PSAV instructor and assessment instructor are part of a larger student support team. The employment readiness instructor meets with students twice a week in a classroom setting to help them acquire skills in time management, interpersonal communication, and self-advocacy. The employment readiness instructor also helps students learn important skills for independence, such as how to register for college classes. The employment readiness instructor works with the assessment instructor to make sure that the student is transferring these skills to the PSAV program. Each of Project Achieve's assessment instructors works with 5 to 10 students. When possible, one assessment instructor is assigned to work with all the students in a particular PSAV program in order to allow the assessment instructor to become familiar with the content and provide effective support. The assessment instructor meets with each student regularly and is the student's lifeline in the program, acting as a tutor when necessary, working with the PSAV instructor to track the student's progress and provide additional supports as needed, and helping the PSAV instructor understand the student's learning needs and accommodations. The assessment instructor often spends time in the PSAV class or lab learning how to weld or give a facial or whatever is required to help the student. The assessment instructor also works with the ESE technology and support instructor to ensure that students are transferring their learning to the PSAV classroom and lab. The ESE technology and support instructor provides resources to help students learn PSAV program content. At Project Achieve, this staff member acquires or creates materials that support students' learning, such as digital flashcards, practice tests, and alternate format materials, and helps students use them. The ESE classroom is equipped with iPads for student and teacher use, and each student receives the loan of an iPod for use outside of class. This instructor also implements the district IEPs for dual-enrolled students, including progress monitoring of IEP goals, annual review of IEPs, and meetings. The job coach provides travel training for students, teaching them to plan routes and access public transportation. The job coach also gives individual lessons to students seeking extra assistance with employability. This may include mock interviews, role plays of workplace interactions, and practice in completing online job applications. The job coach also facilitates contact between students and prospective employers. PSAV instructors, college administrators, and others may be concerned that the PSAV program's standards will be lowered to allow students with intellectual disabilities to succeed. This is not the case. The curriculum and standards of the program are not modified. Instead, students are provided with supports they need in order to achieve the standards of the program, including any accommodations that have been identified for them, such as alternate format materials or extended testing time. Students learn the same skills and knowledge as their peers, and staff work with them to help prepare for any industry certification exams so they can get a job in their chosen career field. Watch this video to hear more about how the students do in their PSAV programs.
I've seen them expand their skills, mechanical skills, their understanding of cars and trucks, and generally how the business works. Also some interpersonal skills I've seen grow. We've had students who have, as a result of having the responsibility to be here and arrive on time, kind of mature a little bit. And will show up for class on time, whereas maybe in the beginning they weren't. Will stay for the entire class, whereas maybe in the beginning they were getting a little bored.
Students who thought when they first came in the program, well, I'm not going to be able to do this. Math is hard for me, or I'm having some difficulty with reading. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. And to see our students at the end actually excel in some areas where they might have been paired with students who I guess you would consider some of the other students, mainstream students who didn't have any disabilities, come and actually ask our students for assistance, for technical help, because they're able to use the equipment that we provided, the iPads, and the experience of making presentations where they're able to present in class and show, this is a project that we were able to start from the beginning to the end and have that pride where that confidence comes in our student. It's just phenomenal.
I do remember one particular student came into our program, had very low TABE scores. He did his 16 months worth of training. He graduated from the automotive tech program. He's gotten employment as a result of his training, and was recently told that he was able to come back, and with the mediation that was available to him, and I believe as well as having the experience, the hands-on experience in our class, he was able to take those experiences, and they helped him pass the TABE test here recently. So that was a big win for us.
It provides me a sense of joy to see our students come in and actually learn to find themselves, and to see the joy that our parents have when they're able to just see the success of their children, and they're able to say, wow, I was concerned. I didn't know what was going to happen. If something happened to me, was my child going to be able to take care of themselves and have a sustainable life? And now I'm feeling okay.
They will surprise you if you'll just give them a chance.
Like all college students, program participants should be moving toward increasing independence. Of course, the hope is that all students have started looking at their post-secondary options long before it's time to decide whether to apply to Project Achieve. However, it's still important that project staff do all they can to ensure the students make an informed choice that reflects their interests and abilities. Students are not likely to be successful in a program they do not like. Parents can be part of the student support team, but it is vital that the student be driving his or her own education and developing self-determination and self-advocacy skills that will be needed not only in college, but also in the workplace. Now it's time to talk about something that's on every college student's mind: finances. While students may use private funds to pay for enrollment in the PSAV program and in Project Achieve itself, the goal is to make participation affordable for every eligible student. In response to the realities of education funding, rehabilitation funding, college admissions, and other factors, Project Achieve has developed a structure that allows students to use a wide variety of funding sources. This makes the program accessible to the greatest number of students and helps the program itself be more sustainable in the long term. The two main sources used by Project Achieve students are funding from the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation and funding through dual enrollment in school district and college programs. Students receive the greatest level of support if they have both VR and dual enrollment funding, because that allows them not only to take PSAV classes and have the support of the assessment instructor, but also to be in the employment readiness class and the ESE technology and support class. However, Project Achieve does have a few students who are VR clients but who are not eligible for dual enrollment. Project Achieve also has a few students who participate in dual enrollment but are not VR clients. Again, those students tend to not be as successful as students who are able to access all the available supports. Because the most effective model combines both sources, vocational rehabilitation and dual enrollment, the rest of this presentation focuses on this recommended dual funding model. This is not the only possible model, but it is at the heart of Project Achieve because it results in the highest level of support for students. The replication guide includes detailed information about how the program is structured and how students access VR and dual enrollment funding. Parts 2A and 2B of this presentation also provide more information. Briefly, though, students access the PSAV program, the ESE technology and support class, and the school district job coach through dual enrollment while using VR funding to access the employability skills class and the supports provided by the assessment instructor. Florida laws and rules regarding dual enrollment change somewhat frequently. However, at the time of this presentation, here are the main things that teams need to understand in order to allow students to access dual enrollment. To use dual enrollment to support a student's participation in a program at a college or career technical center, including a PSAV program, the student must still be a K-12 student. The student cannot have already received a high school diploma. It is okay for students to participate in high school graduation activities so long as they have not formally received their diploma. Dual enrollment must lead to both high school graduation and completion of a college or career technical program. In this case, that's the PSAV program. It is also important that teams work with Voc Rehab to set up their program so that VR-eligible students will be able to use VR funding to participate in training. Here are some of the most important things to remember. VR does not fund programs. It funds people with disabilities to help them find sustainable employment. To receive education and training funding through VR, the student must be a VR client. The training must lead to employment, and the training must be part of the student's Individualized Plan for Employment, or IPE. Project Achieve's assessment instructors and employment readiness instructors are adjunct faculty members, and students who receive these supports are enrolled in a continuing workforce education program. Workforce classes require less of a commitment on the part of the college because they may be dropped if there is insufficient enrollment. The ESE technology and support instructor is a school district employee supported by funds dual-enrolled students generate as school district ESE students. PSAV instructors are college employees whose positions are supported by the PSAV program tuition paid by all enrolled students. As for the coordinator position, Project Achieve has had the benefit of a grant from the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council to support that position. However, projects that replicate this model will likely assign the coordinator role to someone who is already an employee of the college. Details about these positions are included in the replication guide and in parts 2A and 2B of this module. The structure of Project Achieve continues to evolve in response to student needs. Recently, Project Achieve has used a 4-semester structure. During semester 1, which is typically the summer term, students are in the employment readiness class, where they are developing college and career success skills and becoming acclimated to the college setting. In semesters 2 and 3, they are in PSAV classes, receiving instruction and accommodations from the PSAV instructor while receiving additional support from the Employment Readiness Instructor, ESE Technology and Support Instructor, Assessment Instructor, and others as needed. In Semester 4, students receive support to prepare for any industry certification exam and to find a job. The job coach works most intensively with students during this time. Project Achieve is considering moving to a structure that involves more than 4 semesters in order to give students the greatest chance for success. Setting up a post-secondary training support program requires advanced planning, collaboration, and support from leadership. The replication guide gives tips about how to work through the initial planning and preparation phases. More detail is also provided in Parts 2A and 2B of this module. If you believe that this type of program can improve employment outcomes for students with disabilities in your community, the next step is to learn more and get a local collaboration started. Interested teams can download the Project Achieve Replication Guide, available at www.fddc.org, under the Council Resources tab. Part 2 of the Replication Guide includes step-by-step instructions for setting up a program. Or interested teams may choose to view Parts 2A and 2B of this online module. Project Achieve also hosts information sessions for interested teams. For more information, contact staff at Project Achieve or the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council. This ends Part 1 of Supporting Students with Intellectual Disabilities in Post-Secondary Career and Technical Programs. Parts 2A and 2B of the online module provide more detail about how to set up a support program.